I want to get this language thing under wraps earlier from talking, was Nikola Jokic or Nikola Jokic? And is it
or Nikola Jokic
or Yapy?
It's definitely Yapy.
Yapy.
I think like JP. There's like a French G in there somewhere.
Yeah, I think everyone's been mispronouncing my name for my entire life.
I know that the P in JP stands for Palm Springs, which is only part of the explanation for why we haven't had an episode in a couple of weeks, because we've been traveling. We've been
so
busy.
Tan too.
You are tan as hell, dude.
I'm not tan.
I don't know if it's just the glow of your computer screen reverberating the bright lights of Riverside.FM, my favorite SoundCloud rapper. You look great. It's tan, red, whatever.
Nice.
You were staying at the White Lotus, Palm Springs. How was it? Did anyone die?
I did. JP did.
He was revived.
It's JP.
It's like Landfill in Beer Fest. He comes back just as Landfill 2. And
I
it's
haven't
back
seen
in the
that
movie
since it came out.
Dude, we should do a Beer Fest rewatch.
Yeah.
That'd be a great summer pod.
Beer Fest?
Ooh, a live rewatch on playback?
I don't know. I think all of our summer pods are going to be about Beavers football and Maalik Murphy.
We probably will.
That's all I want to talk about.
Right. Because if reports are true,
my lawn.
Maalik Murphy can throw the football a quarter mile.
Yep. He could probably
throw
the
it right over the mountains.
My lawn.
Right. Yeah. I heard great things about the Beaver Spring game and Fan Fest afterwards. There's, fans and stuff on the field afterwards getting autographs. Great day, fun for the whole family. And Maalik Murphy was overheard saying to a fan as he was autographing his football, "How much you want to bet I can throw this football over them mountains?" And then he did it. And then he felt bad, so he autographed another football and handed it to the fan because he's a man of the people. But he did throw a football over the mountains. Confirmed.
It is on Mary's Peak right now.
Yeah, it is Mary's Peak. Mary's
I never
Peak,
hiked Mary's Peak.
It's neither did
Shocking.
Yeah.
You want to hear some real crazy shit? I didn't either.
I think I walked between the Pie Cap House and Peacock and Polling Dorm.
And Grand Oaks.
And JP's house.
Grand Oaks. Did you walk back to Grand Oaks one time?
Oh, Grand Oaks.
You did walk
back
to Grand Oaks one time.
I for sure did a hike around Mary's Peak. Maybe I biked to it with Roro one time. I don't know. I didn't do it. Well, we'll say that. I'm not trying to.
Yeah, I just hiked up and down Monroe.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
I did a lot of beer hikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best stopping at La Conga as
during
a pit stop.
I think during my Little League game the other day, there was a beer run, and the kids were like, whoa. What?
Your Little League game? Were you playing?
Are they giving? Well, no, I was coaching. But
I hope you went 5 for 5.
Every hit, I got to slam a beer at first base.
Just like it was Akayo who had the softball tournament that all the frats played in. That was a good time.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I did. I played that our first year in Pie Cap.
Yeah, I think I went to it. I didn't play it because I did strike out 3 times once in a intramural softball game,
and I didn't want to be embarrassed again.
Right.
No, intramural softball.
But that was because they cheated and they had Sarah Hendigas pitching. She came off of the mound from the future and pitch as hard as she could.
Or Mariah Mazzone, who did return back to Corvallis this week.
Oh, hell yeah, Mariah Mazzone. Pitchers who rake, baby.
Man, this is the time of year. Like, I always miss Corvallis, but this is the time of year when I really miss Corvallis.
Yeah.
Man.
Best time of the year.
God. Thanks, Benny. Now I'm
they
depressed.
Were the best times and the worst of times, but mostly the best of times.
What was the worst?
Benny's
grade point average. My freshman year, me showing up at the geography building and our professor was walking out with all the tests when I thought that the test was at a certain time and it was 3 hours before. That was the worst of times. I knew I was going to be spending the next year in Portland.
I was like I was on you about that test, and we both
geography test.
Well, we knew Benny needed this, and we were like, you have to. I was like, you have to go. You have to make it. And then we looked at I think you had an old syllabus or something because
that's exactly it wasn't. It was an old study test. It was an old study guide of a different class, or like from the term before, or something like that had the time of the test on it.
Because I remember you leaving to go do it, and you're like, I'm good. I'm going to be good. And then you called me.
I'm going to do so well on this test in 1997.
Just devastated.
Yeah.
Just fucking crushed.
Wait, did you say anything to the professor as they were walking out of the building?
I was like, is there any way? And he's like, no, sorry. This was the last test. Otherwise, I would have you take it with another class, but this is the last one. And then to my dad picked me up later on that week. And I was like, hey, so I think I want to save you guys some money and just go to Portland Community College. He's like, what? No, you're not doing that. And then
it was like, well,
I got the letter in the mail.
I kind of have to.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good for me.
I think I want to save you guys some money. No, son. Okay.
It was clever. I think clever.
I think Oregon State University wants to save you guys some money. And are making me go to Portland Community College.
Yeah.
But you got back.
I got back. I did. Yes. I did my time.
You got knocked down, but you got up again because you came of age in the 90s and heard Chumbawamba a million times. Like
one of my first CDs.
See?
Tub Thumping.
You probably listened to it.
Tub Thumping.
You probably listened to Tub Thumping, the only song on that whole CD.
It was so good, though.
And it's still
pissing the night away.
You were pissing too many nights away. I mean, that's why you didn't wake up in time for your geography test.
Blame it.
Term away.
Blame it all on Chumbawamba.
Yeah. What a great term to piss away, though. If you're really going to go out in a blaze of glory, make it spring term.
Oh, and we did.
Yeah, you can't. At least you didn't flunk out after winter term.
I have the shirts to prove it. I have the cutoff shirts to prove it. All of my T-shirts were turned into cutoff shirts.
You even cut off
so low.
He cut
down
the
on my
sleeves
side.
That was the style. That was the style. It was the.
And I'm like, what are you gonna do?
The armhole that went down to the hemline.
I remember watching you cut those in the dorm and being like, what are you gonna do when it's like cold out? You're like,
I'll just go back home to Portland.
Yeah.
And then
JP, I will flunk out before it gets cold again. Don't worry about that.
Also, my favorite was really where you rounded up all of your winter clothes, all your winter clothes, like winter jackets, sweatshirts.
Wait,
like
you cut the sleeves off of a winter jacket?
No, he rounded it all up, throws it in a black trash bag, and he's like, "Let's go to Buffalo Exchange." He's like, "I gotta get so much
$60.
He got enough money that he hands me the cash, and he's like, you think like your sister or somebody would buy me some Barbarossa with this?
Barbarossa?
You can get like 3 Barbarossas, maybe even 4. $60 is a lot of walking around money in 2007.
I think you got a Barbarossa and like a one or something like harder. And it was. And that was it. And I was like, you just traded all your clothes.
And everyone wanted that.
Of alcohol.
Everyone wanted that because it was summer. It was nice out. And the song 151 by Tech 9 was assuredly playing out of every car with a subwoofer in Corvallis.
Yeah, man. Priorities.
Are they still playing subwoofers in
Looking
cars?
back,
is that a thing that's still happening?
Now they're in there like by default, man. If you buy a car that has like sort of
one
slightly
that sounds like the system's even more broken than it possibly could, and you can hear it from 20 blocks away.
That was mine. My Jeep.
I was looking up cars. So first I was looking up GNX or GNXs, but then I realized that only 500 of them were made. Then I chat GPT.
And you're like, I'll buy Kendrick tickets instead.
Look similar to GNXs. And so I was looking up like Novas, and I found a Nova that had probably way too many holes drilled in it for like speakers and subwoofers. And it was like $10,000.
Please don't buy that car. Please tell me you didn't buy it.
Too late. No, I didn't buy it.
Oh,
I do want an old classic car though.
Yeah.
That is my next
holes.
with tweeter holes. tweeters.
Yeah, we love them tweeter holes.
The original tweet.
That was the first tweet.
Speaking of, I am off. I am officially off and have been for 2 weeks.
Did you delete your account?
Yep. I didn't delete my account. I deleted Twitter off my phone completely, though.
Yeah, but he has the account. It lives on in the National Archives anyways. The historical archives have it all.
Exactly.
So,
of a Hall of Fame Twitter user.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
But that era is over.
Good
I
thing
was
no one
on
can use
Twitter
your
a
tweets
little-
against you now, Benny.
Yeah. No one can retweet them, show them to other people who haven't already seen.
I was shaking in my J4s over here, guys.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So, but they still could because your account's active. But I don't know if anyone's going to use your tweets against you, but they might use your tweets for you. Make your life even better than it already is.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Like, this Benny guy's awesome. I want to hang out with him. I'm going to send him a brand new GNX so that he can drive it and give me rides places.
Friend.
Yeah.
I would be your best friend.
I'm going to send him the right study guide for geometry.
I'm going to help
101.
him. I'm going to help him retroactively pass his geography test. What do you recall the specific geography subject of that exam? Was it like geography?
I'm sorry, it wasn't geography. It was geology.
I know exactly what class.
Yeah.
I was in that class, not at the same time, but I took that class. That class
was it the one where you go to the river and like wade around in the water?
I didn't do that, but I also missed a lot of classes.
No, that may have been
I did too. I went to this thing.
There was like Geology 300 was like a very popular lecture that was sneaky hard. That was one of the most dropped classes at Oregon State.
I felt really, well, I don't know. At the time I was like, what am I doing here? I was in like, waders in the river, like by campus, a creek, and like watching water, like maybe push a rock. And I'm like, what is going on?
Right.
And
it was the same place you had been blacked out floating the river the day before. And they're like, someone left a box of beer here. Who would do this?
It was me. Wow. Good planning ahead. No, but, and then there was one girl in our class, one, I guess, young woman. She wasn't really a girl, but then she, I think purposely was wearing a white tank top and just decided to flounder around in the water.
Nice, man. And I miss Corvallis this time of year so
That's
much.
when I go.
And you were like, thank God I didn't skip class
to every class. Yeah.
Where's the women's studies building? I'm going to declare a new major. Okay, we'll stop being gross. We'll stop being gross. I'm sorry.
I'm not being gross. I'm just being factual. That's what happened.
Right.
It's historical.
That's historical. It's fact. I have not deleted Twitter off my phone. I should, but I needed to spend time on it today because I'm not even drinking my usual hams. I'm being fueled entirely by fresh frost brewed Laker tears from all of the whiny Laker fans. LeBron shooting 14 free throws in the first half. Not enough free throws for your old man. Needs to be shooting 50, and the Wolves are up 3-1. Minneapolis is electric right now. It's amazing, and I love it. And that's why I brought back the Woody Page sign. It says Luka call a ambulance, and it's not quite as clear as fuck Jamal Murray, which was in bigger letters because it was fewer letters. But I wanted to be a little less profane this time around.
Luka Kala watermelon. That's what it looks like to me.
Luka, you better call your uncle and then call a watermelon. Because you're going to need something to cheer you up after we send you home for good. After this
the only Laker I ever liked was Nick Van Exel, but he was. And he was the absolute
crazy thing about that. He's not playing in this series, which is great because I also love Nick Van Exel.
Well,
and he's like 57.
Mike Conley Jr. which is almost as shocking.
Right. Mike Conley Jr. had a huge role in today's game. No Nick Van Exel, though. But also this segues perfectly so we can actually talk Oregon State-related NBA playoffs because GP2, also known as Gary Payton II, had an incredible night on Saturday night against the Houston Rockets to give the Warriors a 2-1 lead. So it's in my notes. Oregon State men's basketball, a couple of wins in the transfer portal. this week, a couple big win on the recruiting trail this week, but also the biggest win, NBA playoffs, GP2 against Dillon Brooks of all people. He was phenomenal on Saturday.
Dillon Brooks?
Oh, yeah.
Or
No,
GP2.
Dillon Brooks had 4 fouls at half, and he was terrible.
He had 4 fouls.
5 minutes left.
In each of the next 2 quarters. He fouled out 3 times in one game.
Probably.
They felt so bad that they brought him back a couple more times, and he did the same thing. He fouled out quicker than CJ Giles in his first game.
He's the most unliked player in the league, right? I don't follow the NBA.
They're not most unliked, but he's up there. He's got that brand going for him.
I don't think anyone cares enough about Dillon Brooks to not like him.
The other Canadians like him. I'll give him that.
Oh, do they?
Well, yeah. Well, he plays that same role for the Canadian national team.
Yeah, no, I know.
So
that.
like SGA and Wiggins didn't play in the Olympics. That was kind of weird, but yeah, like those Canadian guys, they're all boys. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's true. That's right. So yeah, he's got his boys, but like he's like it's kind of whatever. And
he did
the last time they
Draymond. He called Draymond after game 2 the dirtiest player in the NBA. And that was after he like speared GP2 into the ground. I was gonna say, I hope he had a hours before,
and it was in the playoffs 3 years ago that he took GP2 out of the series on a
clubbed him across the head on a breakaway cut. Yeah.
So
still mad about Oregon State winning or having the series lead in that basketball rivalry.
Yeah. Well, I dove deep into this. Did you guys find that? Benny, you maybe didn't because you're not on Twitter. But I dove deep into this because it's clear now.
Weren't a Laker fan complaining on Twitter. I wasn't engaging with it, so I'm sorry, JP. But I'll go back and look at this.
So I had to wonder, right? Because there's clearly been a lot of subtle hatred between Gary and Brooks. And then it became very blatant, maybe not directly to Brooks, but Gary wore those Kobe's that were Oregon men's basketball team issued specifically for March Madness. And on the shoe, he just tagged it all up. He crossed out the duck logo on the tongues with a giant X and Sharpie across the face of Puddles, which is the name Oregon fans don't you dare come at me. And then he numbered all the colors and almost was redesigning the shoe. So and it was yellow. He wrote number 1 and wrote orange. And then anything that was green, he wrote number 2 and then wrote black. And then on the back, he had a GP2 with an old school Benny and in a tagged format with a 0 next to it.
It looked sweet.
And
man,
it did look awesome.
Why is Gary wearing, and everyone was asking, why is Gary Payton II wearing Oregon Duck issued shoes with yellow and green on them? Yet he put, the Beaver Benny on it. He put his name on it. What's going on? So I had to dig in. There's definitely something more than that. And then, of course, there was the whole incident a couple years ago. Was it in 22?
22, I believe.
Where he fractured his elbow thanks to Brooks' cheap shot from behind. And they essentially overlapped for the majority of both their collegiate careers at Oregon State. They split their Civil War series against each other. And I have to imagine that it's still bad blood that's boiling from that rivalry.
Yeah. I mean, what else would it be?
What else could it be? Right. And honestly, I love to see that because today, in this day and age, professional athletes, especially the NBA, they were kind of the first at this. They're all buddy.
Yeah, I know. It's the worst part of the league.
There's no hatred anymore amongst the stars of the NBA. They're in their own little culture club. And it used to be where every star was on their own island. And that was fun. But getting these guys that are role players that are grinding.
Extended beyond their careers as Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas still fucking hate each other.
Yeah, exactly. And whatever, maybe that's not healthy nowadays, given they're
healthy for
not
us,
playing
the viewer.
But
Yeah,
it's clear
good
that
TV.
it's clear that it was authentic then. And like now you see like, you see LeBron and Draymond chirp at each other and it's like, okay, yeah, they're mad in the game. And then like as soon as the series is over, they're going out for like a nice wine dinner together. Like it just feels a bit phony.
Yeah, but
in the NBA.
look who GP2's dad is. The ultimate shit
Exactly.
talker.
Right.
And so that's why I think this is so refreshing, and it's so great that it stems. And he was there. It stems from like not just an NBA career. Not that you're mad this guy got drafted before you or drafted instead of you or got a contract and you didn't. Whatever. Like it has origins like so deeply rooted in rivalry, and it's carried through. And I feel like it's very refreshing to see. Right. As much as I despise Dillon Brooks, I still have this picture, even though Clay is no longer a member of the Warriors.
Yeah, he plays for the Mavs now?
He is in your heart.
For now. Clay is always a Warrior in my heart. Well, and for stepping over Dillon Brooks and staring him down on the ground, yes. Right. One of my favorites of all time.
Well, also what's true with GP2 and Dillon Brooks is they're not necessarily similar players, but they've carved out success in the league in similar ways by being
through a niche,
through a niche. But I don't think obviously we're watching GP2's career through orange and black colored glasses. I would never pretend that we're not. I haven't seen anything that would suggest that people think GP2 is a dirty player or, or maybe people dislike him because he dunked on him too hard. And, 7-footers don't like it when guys who are a foot shorter than them dunk on them. But that is part of the game when you play against Gary.
That's life.
So I think, it's like there's a lot of the same kind of material in both of their NBA stories. And I hope they do hate each other. Maybe they're going out and getting these wine dinners in secret too, but man, it doesn't seem like that when they're on the court. And GP2 had some huge dunks on Saturday night, and you could tell he was feeling it and was letting them know about it too.
What would be cool is because the Sonics are going to be coming back like soon, probably before GP2's career.
Hopefully,
that would be sick to see him in Seattle.
I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And that was the other thing I pointed out was like maybe it was a Sonics thing because GP2's done that through his entire career, even before the Warriors, in between with the Blazers. He'll rock Sonics gear pregame.
Oh, really?
He'll wear his dad's jersey or warm up, like some sort of like long sleeve shoes. It isn't abnormal for him to wear like green and yellow, but in support of the Sonics
green and yellow.
And so part of me
Very
was wondering,
specific shade of green and yellow.
Yeah, but part of me was wondering, is that the reason why he got the shoes? And then he tried to customize them enough to be like, no, like these aren't for the Ducks. These are for me and my identity of being a part of the Sonics family through my dad. Yeah. But I don't know. I think that it was intentional for Dillon Brooks. I do.
I am going to believe that. I choose to believe that. But
it was.
Oh man. That would be cool.
He did say after the game, he put it on social media. I think it was X, maybe it was Instagram, but he put "Go Beavs" and quote tweeted about somebody having like multiple photos of the shoes.
Right. And they caught the X'd out puddles on the tongue. And he said, nice. Go Beavs.
Yeah.
Love it. It doesn't die. I'm here for that energy forever.
All day. And we need it now.
Hell yeah.
For sure.
Both your guys' teams won then.
Yeah. Warriors are up 2-1. And then have game 4. As we are recording the 179th episode of the Belligerent Beavs podcast on Sunday, April 27th. The Warriors currently lead the Rockets 2-1. The Timberwolves currently lead the Lakers 3-1. And the game 4 between Rockets Warriors is on Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. I'm pretty sure. Pacific time. Sorry. 7 p.m. Pacific time.
Thank God you scared me. I got Little League practice.
Right.
From me.
JP needs a hit for the
We're not going to strike out 3 times.
Man, so let's do a quick beer segment. I am actually drinking Hams, but I'm just telling myself that it's Laker Tears. And it's in our throwback koozie that I found in my koozie drawer. Our original ChopEm script, our original Drunk Benny Belligerent Beavs logo, which is just, the throwback logo. So we love throwbacks here. So cheers to the Cheers to everyone. And if you're a Laker fan, fuck you. I'm not even going to make fun of the Packers this week after Green Bay hosted the NFL draft. I'm only making fun of the Lakers. Good job, Dr. Johnson. It seemed like your town hosted a pretty great draft party. But anyways.
There's a lot of people there.
That's not the Terry I know.
Wolves back. Hey, all my hatred is reserved towards Laker fans. Even though Magic Johnson is in a frame behind me, he is playing against Larry Bird, and in my head, they're losing that game when this illustration was made.
Yeah. Well, they're losing because he's standing behind Bird.
He is, you can tell. He's standing behind Bird. That means Bird was winning, and it's next to the Luca Call ambulance sign. Magic Johnson tweeted out today, wow, Anthony Edwards was amazing today. 43 points to lead the Timberwolves to a 3-1 lead. Ant is special. The Lakers are in trouble. We got Magic is cheering for the Timberwolves. It's pretty amazing.
Is he still a part owner of the Dodgers?
No. Oh, Dodgers.
Dodgers, I think he is.
Yeah.
Lakers, he's not.
Yeah.
So maybe he's mad at the Lakers.
Oh yeah, he doesn't. I don't think he likes the Lakers. They kind of shoved him out after he got a little strange in public.
The original ChatGPT 1.0 was just tweeting for Magic Johnson like 3 years ago.
Yeah. It's like, what kind of nonsense is this?
Game 7's a big game, as we all know. Anyway, yes. So cheers. I have a Hams splashed with Laker tears.
Oh.
JP.
Nice. Yes.
You're up 2-1. How are you celebrating?
I'm good, and I'm happy to be celebrating. But then I realized what the name of this is, but I'm going to change the name of my beer. And it's called Green Don't Matter. And it's a double hazy IPA. It actually says Green Matter, but it doesn't matters. But it's Green Don't Matter in my mind. It's from Bear Lake. And I went there on Friday night.
Oh, yeah. We love Bear Lake.
Yeah, this is a new one from them.
Why does that sound familiar?
Bear Lake Brewing.
Yeah.
Bear Lake's the brewery by JP's house that's like across the street from Great Notion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. We've been there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I saw this in the fridge and I was like, okay, that's a new one. I've had pretty much all their other ones. And then I saw the name. But, green don't matter. Depends.
Green don't matter
on your perspective. To me, it don't matter. And it's a double hazy IPA with Simcoe, El Dorado, and Comet hops. I don't know what Comet hops are, but that sounds
probably in space.
Scientific.
Hops from space.
Yeah.
Definitely from space.
We love science.
Maybe came in a comet that crashed on our planet years and years ago, and maybe we might be able to identify them if only Benny had gone to his geology test on time.
Oh, way to go.
And taken in that material.
Wait, did you guys see the article about that Earth that might be like 120 light years away?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
Yep. It's the biggest alien news since alien news was invented, Terry.
Dude, it's like real potential alien news. Okay.
How is Baba Ganoush? He's always up on this. How has he not been blowing up my phone? Sorry for interrupting. Say more.
No, maybe he is, and you have him on mute because you've been busy watching the game. Yeah. But this isn't that recent. It was like a week or two ago. Yeah. But the whole theory is that there is different lenses that astrologists use to look at faraway planets and galaxies and bodies, whatever. And the lenses tell them what gases, because of the light that they emit through those lenses, what gases are in if there's an atmosphere. And normally they've been ignoring this certain gas because they thought it was just murking the waters of figuring out which gases are in the atmosphere. But at some point they realized, oh wait, this is a gas that's only produced by living beings on Earth. And it's actually only produced by living algae plants. Okay. So this one planet, KB3 something, I don't know, but it's 120 light years away, which is like, travel the speed of light, and it's like essentially two lifetimes. And it's covered in oceans like Earth, the majority. And then they saw finally, because they were finally trying to not exclude this gas from their research, they were including it. It is super rich with this one gas in its atmosphere that on Earth is only known to be produced by algae and life. Therefore, the assumption is that their oceans, at a minimum, are rich with life.
Pretty cool.
That is cool.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
And I bet you everyone there is a Beaver fan, and no one likes the Ducks because their branding influence has not made its way there yet. And the altruistic view on fandom is still alive.
It's definitely orange algae. Green don't matter.
Green don't matter.
And
even
beavers are also much
hops.
better at supporting an environmental ecosystem and building.
And ducks just shit in water.
So, I think
And
I
on
think
Earth.
that's
and
correct.
on walkways around water, which I don't appreciate.
Yeah, and I don't understand, but it makes sense. They're dumb.
Yeah, dumb ducks.
Yeah.
Yep.
All
All
of
right.
it adds up. Bet you there's no ducks on KB 30, 20, 16, whatever it's called.
I sure hope not. I wouldn't go there.
It's not KB 3834 in honor of the 2022 Civil War game. It's not KB 19 runs in a row or KB GP2. Man, all of that is to arrive at this point where we ask Benny, do you have anything? And the answer is probably no, but
I should have a draft because that's the only thing that us Blazer fans are looking forward to this time of year.
Oh, that would be nice. Yeah.
But no, so on Friday, I don't have anything, by the way. On Friday, I've really stopped smoking for the most part. And on Friday, Yuri was out of town all week and the Mariners were playing. And sort of our thing is we'll get stoned and watch the Mariners. And so she came back and I was like, let's get stoned and watch the Mariners. And so she was like, okay, like I just got off a plane. I'm like jet lagged, but sure, let's do it. And so I took more puffs off this joint than what I usually do. And Yuri's telling me about her trip. And I was like, it just clicked. And I was like, man, I think I smoked too much. And I like fell back into the chair.
Go to KB?
Dude, I went way further.
Where did you fly from, Yuri? This planet that's 120 light years away that's got all this algae? We're out of the universe, Yuri.
But basically, I was like, I know you're jet lagged and have a headache, but I really need you to take care of me right now. I was uncomfortably stoned, having the worst time of my life. It was so
numb.
awful.
Pink Floyd.
Yeah. So needless to say, I'm back on the no smoking train.
You've been taking a break since then, and the Mariners have been getting their asses kicked ever since.
No way. Mariners are playing really well.
Well,
I had
that's
no
your
idea.
answer then.
There you go. Okay.
Clearly, they're
The
playing well.
Giants, did you guys see Ramos? My dude, Elliot Ramos, who we have a long history of having met him
He's on
before.
my fantasy team.
Or actually
So the
during
same
COVID.
thing.
He's great. And today he hit a Little League walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth. You have to watch the video.
Little League
Little League walk-off, like in the park?
So he hit like a little like dribbler to the left side of the pitcher's mound, or like, the third base side, and the pitcher just comes in, or the third baseman, whoever did, and just rushes the throw, overthrows first. He starts running to second, but he realizes how deep in the right field it is. So he goes to third, and they launch it over to third. They overthrow third, and then he runs home. And that was the game winner. I don't know if I've ever seen
It's like
something
that scene.
That's a
ridiculous.
game winner? Like a walk-off?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
It's like something
That's cool. That's exciting.
They did that in Angels in the Outfield, which is a movie when
Such a good
angels come
movie.
down from heaven and help the then named California Angels play baseball. Anyway,
One of the best hats in baseball. The old California
the halo,
Angels hats.
yeah.
the CA with the halo. That is a cool hat.
It was that and Rookie of the Year and Sandlot for me were the best baseball movies. Not a fan of Angel or what was that with Kevin Costner?
Field
If
of
you
Dreams.
build it, they will
Field of
come.
Dreams?
Yeah.
You don't like Field of Dreams?
It's all right.
Oh, Field of Dreams is great. I didn't really care that much as a kid. I thought it was like a grown-up
it was a
movie,
grown-up
but-
movie. You just named like
I
3
never watched it
movies
as an
geared
adult.
towards 12-year-olds
Watch it.
and then a movie geared towards adults, and you're like, fuck that movie, which is fine.
Watch it again. It's a good one. I just watched it like a year ago.
That field is like miles away from where my parents live in Iowa.
Yeah.
The Field of Dreams field.
I've never actually been to it. but I've wanted to check it out.
Yeah,
I know it's a baseball field in a cornfield, and I have seen other baseball fields in other cornfields, but still feels like I should pay homage to the most famous one. Kevin Costner also in Bull Durham, a great baseball movie.
Oh, I have not seen that one. I've heard
you would like Bull Durham, Benny.
Yeah,
like I think most people would, but like that's a baseball movie.
Okay, yeah.
It's all kinds of fun shenanigans.
I'll check it out.
Malfeasance. Susan Sarandon's in it. Tim Robbins is in it. It's a good time.
Okay.
But we're not here today to talk about baseball movies, although we probably should keep talking about baseball movies because talking about
and hating the Ducks.
And hating the Ducks because our baseball team didn't do so great against the Ducks.
I was hoping we weren't going to get there.
We don't need to spend a long time on it, I guess. It's unfair. I'm not going to say it's our fault because they lost all 3 games before we started recording this episode. But we did take a break during a previous 13-game winning streak.
Yeah.
So they got all the way up to number 3 in the polls.
Well, it wasn't a break.
It wasn't a break.
Literally.
Yeah. Life got in the way.
Yeah. Yay Palm Springs and other shit. Yeah. Major things in all of our personal lives, actually. So it happens. But we're back now. So we just, I feel bad. I'm not going to freak out too much about it because I'll be honest. I didn't watch any one of these games.
No, me neither.
I was doing other shit and I was watching other teams. And I'm not trying to say that I don't care about this because I do care. I think I will preface this by saying this sort of return midweek Tuesday night at Goss against the Ducks. I think this is hyperbole and this is a little social media speak, whatever. But I kind of feel like this is the most important midweek game in the history of Oregon State baseball. As important as a midweek regular season baseball game can be. That said, I don't think you have to necessarily win this game in order to win the College World Series because baseball is weird. But if you want to salvage some good feels like that came from the 13-game winning streak, you got to beat the Ducks in this 4th one, especially when it's at home. And it's just a bummer.
I don't really care about Ducks baseball.
It's a big time bummer, but
they're not on our level. It's good that they got a couple. I mean, that's that's good for them. That's all right.
If the middle one, so here's it was bookended by 2 close games. They lost the first game by 2 runs and the last game by 1 run. And they beat our ass 13-1 in the middle game. And I think that's what's driving a lot of the narrative right now. Oregon's pitching has not been particularly good all year, and our bats were pretty much non-existent in this series. Yeah. So you hope that's just a really inopportune slump at an inopportune time when you're against a rival that you want to really take care of and remind them who the big dog in this matchup is. So it sucks for the message boards. It sucks for the water cooler. It sucks because you never want to lose to the Ducks because fuck them.
Yeah.
But I'm not freaking out about the season, though. Before the series started, Benny, you pointed out that the odds for Oregon State to win the College World Series were pretty favorable to the better. And I don't think maybe you threw some money, maybe you didn't. Maybe we don't need to talk about that.
It'd be better now.
It would be even better. Now it might be the time to do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, 3 up, 3 down, 3 losses in Eugene. It sucks.
What else really suck though? I mean,
yes, it sucks. It does suck. Definitely
it does suck. We can't talk all this shit and act like it doesn't suck.
A couple off Big Brother. I mean, look, they should be happy. They should be happy. We play for Omaha. They play to play us.
We should still play to beat the shit out of them.
It is more fun when we beat the shit out of them.
And we did none of that.
And they beat the shit out of us in 1 game.
Yeah, I do think that this does bother me in a way. Like, ignoring the rivalry, ignoring that it's Oregon, ignoring why they even have a baseball team, I would say, yeah, okay, it's baseball. We've had a rough offensive stretch. Whatever. 3 games. We had a 13-game win streak. 3 games. Yeah, that's regression to the mean in a way. So let's move on to the next 16 games and see what happens. But those were against Oregon. Like, we had to have some showing. We had to have, like, to do something. We had to have some passion, like dig deep enough and through all the exhaustion, through all of this run, and find a way to get something. Like something, like show a little
salvage
extra
that
for what
last
it
win
means
on Sunday.
Just like show, yeah, like you're gonna have to pull that out at some point, anyways. Whether it's Oregon or anybody else, because you're gonna have to figure out how do I dig deep enough to win a game when we are mentally and physically exhausted in the middle of Omaha, like middle regional, super regional. Like you have to do it, and they didn't this weekend, and that is a little concerning to me.
It is concerning. I think the biggest thing that bothers me too, and you can certainly flip this and say, well, silver lining, but after getting your ass beat 13-1 in the middle game, and then you come back on Sunday, you have to be feeling like we just have to win this game no matter what. And you get that type of showing from Ethan Kleinschmidt, striking out 12 ducks, and he pitched his ass off. He was wonderful on the hill, and you just could not get him any kind of support for him to come away with a win in that game, or for just like the bullpen to get a win. That felt wasted in a way that we haven't seen much this year, which is good that they haven't been wasting that many games. So it's good that this feels shocking and is jarring in a way, because the record is still very, very good. And they didn't lose their NCAA tournament hopes, but also super regionals have been tough for this team in the Canham years. You've got to be fighting for those top 8 spots. And I think we may have gone from number 3 in the country to, I don't know when the new rankings come out, but we might be outside looking in at that point. That's what a sweep can do to you, just with the variance of college baseball. So I don't think I'm not burning jerseys. I'm not out here saying fire Canham. I still believe in Mitchie Slick, but it was not what you wanted to see. And I think the fan base is right to be moving forward with some caution at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it was top second and 2 outs, and we have 4 guys walk. That's a walked in run and still bases loaded. And then that was it. 1 run. Like that kind of, I don't know, effort, like to pull that out. Like that's a moment where you go, okay, our rival, we want to prove a point. We want to bounce back. We have this like opportunity today to at least like, straighten the path and like calm the storms. And then you're gifted, bases loaded after having 2 out, and you only walk in another run. Like, come on, like where's the effort? Like where is the energy, the focus? I mean, again, it's baseball. I understand that this shit happens, and it doesn't matter who you're facing. That's just how averages work. That's why you play this many games. But there's just something like silver lining. I'm hoping that this punch to the mouth is kind of that realization moment of, ooh, if we don't give it our all, even if we're exhausted, even if we're just in a slump, we will be beat, and we could be beat very badly. And that helps them straighten out for regionals, good super regionals. I mean, they got to finish strong now for hosting supers, I think.
I would argue this point though, and this is coming at it from a different angle for the pure sake of coming at it from a different angle, but like good teams are going to slump, and you'd rather have the slump now than during regional or super regional play or Omaha. So I'm not saying like a slump was coming no matter what, but teams do slump. And I would much rather it be in this series, even if it's against the Ducks, than that this wasn't important, but
the opponent is the only reason why people are freaking out right now.
Yeah.
Well, okay, sure. Take Oregon's RPI and apply it to any other opponent potentially for this same series, and we lose 3 with essentially a 4th game a couple days later. No one would be that.
If this was at UCLA, people would be like, "Oh, I hope they play better next time."
Yeah. And maybe that's more so my point is from a grand scheme of things, like
that is fair.
I'm not concerned at all.
If
it's the rivalry, I get it.
Yeah, but here's my other concern that I think a lot of diehard Beaver baseball fans are worried about is the fact that we have a lot to prove when it comes to RPI. We don't have a conference. There's a lot of dots to connect on how and who and when they played, to consider how quality of a win we've got or how bad of a loss it is. And this was an opportunity to just like stamp it.
Yeah.
And
I feel that
now there's a lot of gray area. There's what are you going to go? Like, you go to Hawaii, then what? I mean, traveling to Hawaii, it's not an easy trip. So you're going to go to Hawaii and sweep them, hopefully. Because if you don't, now your RPI is dropping further, and then your chances of supers is gone. Gone. No matter what happens with Iowa, no matter what happens with Long Beach. And you've got Portland in there twice, which clearly they love playing spoiler.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a chance.
Cross-country trip at Iowa, too. Like, that's going to be...
You go Hawaii, Portland, Iowa, Portland, Long Beach, but Corvallis.
Right. So that's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
So that is a lot of travel.
That is why I think it's compounding. There's compounding factors. It's the rivalry. It's the chance to not worry about the rest of the season in a way for RPI. And it was a bad showing.
Yeah. So Tuesday might be the only kind of like RPI increasing opportunity there is. The rest of the games are just like, you kind of need to win. Not all of them necessarily, but like if you win a series at Hawaii, it's not Freakout City. If you win a series at Iowa, it's not Freakout City. I was thinking about driving down for that actually in Des Moines at the Iowa Cubs AAA park.
What
That's a beautiful park.
Oh, is that where it's going to be?
Well, I need it to happen. So it's a couple weeks from now and a couple weeks right before the wedding date. So
hey, it's not on the wedding.
It's not on the wedding date. That's a great point, Benny.
It's not like you're busy.
On your wedding weekend, would that be super regional play?
Yeah.
Or regionals or super regionals.
Oh.
No.
You better have a TV and direct line of sight from the altar.
Yeah, or else I'm buying a Vision Pro and I'm going to wear it even during the ceremony.
It'll be...
I'm serious.
The ceremony will be middle of the day, Central Time. The first pitch just probably won't even be until like 8 p.m. Central Time. The ceremony will be long over by the time that game's starting.
Stand there hopefully looking in the right direction, but we're not looking at anything but the TV.
Gavin Turley will hit a home run from Goss that hits the ceremony in Minneapolis. That'll be how towering of a shot it is. And then I'll be like, this is a sign. We'll turn the game on. And
if Gavin Turley hits a home run in Omaha,
baby.
It better not be like, when, they ask, does anyone object? Because if we're all cheering, yes.
You're like, no, he's fucking out. Man, so we're not worried. That's the conclusion we all came to.
Well, I am worried.
Yeah, I don't think I'm cautiously worried.
That was a big lost opportunity. That worries me. I'm not worried about the team. I'm not worried about the talent on the team. I'm not even worried really about the leadership on the team. What I'm worried about is if they weren't able to get up for that series.
Sure.
After, an exhausting 13-game winning streak run. What's going to happen when you have to put those runs together and just keep digging it out and getting it done late in the season, when it comes to Omaha or earlier. But what's going to happen the rest of the season? Now we've afforded ourselves a very small very, very small margin.
Fair.
But I would argue baseball is the only sport where you can get 2 up for a game and just sort of like fuck yourself all up, right?
Yeah.
Like
Maybe we were 2 up.
Maybe that's what it was. Is that they just got too hyped for the
that's
game,
how
and
you
you need to learn how to control those emotions. And if so, that's a really good.
That's
test
how you
for
triple
what's
snap.
about.
Double snap.
Let's see what happens Tuesday then.
Yeah,
That's why I think Tuesday is very important. I mean, sometimes it's the punch in the mouth that wakes you the hell up and gets you dialed in. So hopefully
Tuesday's
that's where
not
we're
as
at.
important. Tuesday's a helpful win if we can get there, but I would say it's not the win that I think is the most important aspect. It's the bounce back mentality.
Yeah.
It is the composure. It is like, just taking it, 1 pitch at a time, like no matter who your opponent is, and just executing at your best. And if they're able to do that against Oregon on Tuesday, I have a lot of faith in how they will approach the rest of this regular season. Man, I have a hard time believing that they're going to not look at Tuesday's game the same way that you announced it to be, Terry, as the most important game in Oregon State.
I didn't say the most important game. The most important midweek regular season game in Oregon State baseball history.
Sure.
And I think that, while that sounds crazy, I don't think it's actually that crazy.
I don't disagree with you.
Unless
But
there
what
was
I'm
like
worried
a
about is,
midweek.
are the players going to feel that way? And how will they handle it?
Well, they're all listening to this right now and going like, "Oh my God, now I'm shaking my boots because the belligerent Beavs said it was." No, they're going to handle it. They're going to handle it just. They're going to handle it just fine. Again, it's a good test. I think it's a nice way. You kind of a rubber match, like, in Major League Baseball, you get swept. It's just, sometimes there's back-to-back series in like weird ways or whatever. You go to another team's ballpark and lose 3 straight. You typically don't have the next chance you play to be against that same team on your home ballpark. And that can sometimes, let's go. Let's get up again. Let's do this. And there's only 1 day off in between. I think the schedule breaks in a favorable way for the team right now. But I don't know. There's a small chance that a 4th loss could just be totally demoralizing from a psychological standpoint, and
that's the other concern.
Yeah.
How do you, if you're not able to bounce back after that?
Let's be
what?
honest. A big part of Oregon State baseball culture of the last 15 years is Oregon. You can't fucking touch us on this field.
Yeah.
And the diehard Oregon State baseball fans make that a big part of the personality. So that is a protective thing. It's similar, even in a down season, playing well in this matchup matters. And they didn't do that this weekend. That doesn't mean the season's over. That doesn't mean everyone should get fired, but it does add a little bit of tension to a Tuesday night game where there often isn't a lot of tension. That's just what I'm saying.
Yeah, we'll see how they respond. We will see. And look, it's not all doom and gloom. Like the season's not over. No matter what happens Tuesday, it's
there's a lot
over.
of baseball to play, and
there's a lot of teams that make their way to Omaha without hosting super regionals. So I'm not too concerned. I know it's been a problem to not host and not perform under Canham, but.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean the season's over if we're not in line to host supers. Like that's
Do you guys remember when we were in college and we drew Michigan in the super regional? This was the 07 national championship. Michigan was renovating their stadium, and because the construction schedule was scheduled to start immediately after the regular season, so we hosted the super. Yes. It was the Michigan Super Regional played in Corvallis.
Oh,
because
really?
they couldn't play in their stadium, and I think we swept them pretty. That was the year that we had kind of a weird regular season and kind of backed into the tournament, and then just got insanely hot and went back to back. But that kind of sucks for Michigan, but I don't feel bad for them. Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
poor planning, Michigan.
I would encourage everyone, it's good to be mad about this. It's never good to lose to Oregon in the fashion that we just did, but don't let that take your focus away from the task at hand. And hopefully the redemption tour for this past weekend starts Tuesday night at Goss. And Goss has got him before, and Goss will got him again. Go Beavs.
Beavs.
That's what I've got left for baseball.
Oh, for the episode? No,
for the episode. Thank you for listening. We are. I don't want to go as deep on anything else that we just did for baseball. I just want to keep talking shit about Luka Doncic. Why can't we do that, guys? Let's. We haven't talked football in a while. We really haven't.
We haven't.
And I think we should talk some football. We don't really need to talk about the NFL draft. The quick shout outs to our guys signing contracts this weekend. Joshua Gray, who should have gotten drafted. He should have gotten drafted before Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders was a different athlete who didn't get drafted either. And that was the real
He got drafted above Shedeur Sanders.
Yes, right. Colonel Sanders could have been drafted before Shedeur Sanders.
Joshua Gray going to the Atlanta Falcons. I was really hoping there were a lot of lists that had Joshua as one of the best available offensive linemen starting in like the 4th or the 5th. And I kept being like, I was texting Mel Kiper being like, hey, can you stop screaming about Shedeur for a second and shed some light on my guy, Joshua Gray, who, according to you, should have been drafted 3 hours ago? Come on, Mel. But Joshua going to the Atlanta Falcons, he's going to make that team out of training camp. I'm pretty goddamn confident. Jermaine Terry to the New York Football Giants, Jaden Robinson to the Denver Broncos, Gerard Christian Lichtenhand to the Baltimore Ravens. All of those, unfortunately so, undrafted free agent contracts. First time since 2019 we didn't have a player taken in the draft. Wow. And lots of people to blame for that. And also, do you take credit for a player who transferred? That's not how they record it, whether we want to or not.
Where did Silas go again?
Silas signed with the Vikings, but he was undrafted.
Yeah.
And DJU signed with the Chargers.
DJU signed with the Chargers. Dame went in the 7th round to the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was like, for me, was worst case scenario.
That is worst case for you. I wanted to go earlier.
I said, is he going to be after round 3? I was like, will he be is it bad of me to think that he's going to be the biggest steal in the draft at this point? And I still do feel that way. And now I'm almost more mad that he's going to the Seahawks, and I had to watch potentially the biggest steal.
Right.
Yeah, maybe run all over the Niners, but
they say this every year too. It's like, oh, it's almost even better to go undrafted at this point.
Yeah,
because then you can choose where you go.
I mean, I think he's in. I think Damian ended up in a good situation. I'm not trying to I don't think. Okay, I don't think Damian helped his draft stock going to Miami.
No,
I think he would have did. Yeah, I think he would have been 7th round if not earlier had he stayed. Even just done what he had done the year before at Oregon State at a minimum. Yeah. And then I also just don't really think that him leaving hurt Oregon State either. He hurt fans. Yeah, I will definitely agree with that. I don't think it hurt us last season.
I actually think it set us up better for next season because he left.
Because we got to work with the running game. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was clear. It was at least made clear to us that he was only going to play one more season of college football.
Yeah.
It was never on social media that, one more and out or 3 and out, whatever. His goal was to go to the NFL, and it was to play one more season of college football so he could be eligible to go to the draft. Where he did that, we didn't know. But it ended up the way it did. He ended up 7th round. Good luck, Damian. I'm rooting for you. But
and Seattle doesn't exactly have a stock of running backs either. So he could see the field this year.
Yeah, it's a good spot.
I'm rooting for you. I'm terrified to face you because I know we will, and we will have to face you carrying the ball 30 times. But hey, you know what? I gotta say, they talked about his time at Oregon State more than they talked about his time, other than some records or whatever about being a 1,000-yard rusher at Miami. The talking heads did, and social media was also saying, well, if you really watch his tape at Oregon State, that will show you how great he could potentially be. So if anything, the dude showcased his best side at Oregon State.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't hold anything against
the tape was
him.
better.
The
at
news
Oregon
up here
State.
in Seattle was calling. I mean, obviously, because fans are going to be much more familiar with Oregon State than Miami, but they were posing it as Husky fans will remember him because of what he did at Oregon State to the Huskies. So Oregon State.
It's why he was in the top 5 of Matt Miller's way too early draft projections after his sophomore season at Oregon State. Again, you can really get yourself on the NFL draft radar at Oregon State. Yes. That was, I really felt some type of way the way things were coded by other individuals last year, but that's neither here nor there. Pulling for all these guys. I think though, Silas going to my favorite football team is one where I'm very excited. I think he probably would have gotten drafted had he stayed, because he would have been utilized in the receiving game. When he was at Texas, he was behind Matthew Golden and Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond not getting drafted was also kind of weird. So I don't know what that says about how the NFL evaluated the Texas passing game. Quinn Ewers is a weird quarterback, and he went very, very late as well.
Oh, did he get drafted?
So the Vikings
7th round.
Gave Silas, they're like, so undrafted, there's a range of different contracts. Silas signed a $205,000 guaranteed undrafted free agent contract with the Vikings, which is way more than just bringing someone in for training camp. So that says they thought of him pretty highly and have but I think their mind was pretty made up, and I think they probably made up that mind from the Oregon State tape rather than the Texas tape.
Exactly.
As there's not a ton of Texas tape.
I think that they're probably looking at him as exactly.
Yeah, it's in the return game.
Look at Anthony Gould.
Anthony Gould got drafted because he was the fucking man his last year in college.
Yeah, and also he showed out for a lot of the the combine and other pro days, everything else. He did actually have
he had a great process.
Yeah. So,
and I really don't think it matters so much where you play. Like NFL, I mean, all games are televised. Sure. NFL teams are going to find you wherever you play.
Dude, how many times do we have to
first
say
round
this?
Pick, Gray Zabel, North Dakota State.
Right.
Kenyon Mitchell from Toledo, Rookie of the Year.
Playing time is the most important factor of exposure.
110%.
It doesn't matter if your team gets on national TV. It doesn't matter if your team has a big carrier who carries all their games. If you're sitting on the bench, no one sees you.
The nerds will find you.
Well, what's interesting is if you are the cream of the crop and you're going to start no matter where you go, I get going to a bigger school for more exposure and probably a bigger deal.
But the problem is that's the promise they get.
Yeah.
Right. But if you are somebody like Silas, who goes to Texas, probably got much more in NIL.
Right.
But he probably did. The repercussion of that is not getting drafted. And I think that's important to realize. It makes sense for first round picks.
And Silas,
but if you're going to be a 5th, 6th, 7th round pick or undrafted, it makes way more sense to stay where you're at and get playing time.
You'll get more reps. Historically, you get more reps. We've done the research. You get more reps when you stay at the school that you've been at. Year over year, your reps will increase more than any other school where you transfer to. The only difference is quarterback.
Right.
That is the only position where somebody gets more reps when they transfer on average. And that's typically because quarterbacks transfer up to positions in the depth chart where they are needed to be starters.
And they can only play one of them.
Yes.
I think Silas, I'm trying to remember, and this is my own memory. I don't think Silas said much about when he transferred. So there wasn't a...
No.
Oh,
I was going to say, because there could there's different motivations, and I don't know what it could have been money, and it could have been fame, and it could have been the chance to play in the SEC or play for a college football playoff, all of which were more increased than at Oregon State. But if you are recalling something that I am simply just forgetting right now, or if you want to break some news,
No, do you remember that interview he did for that podcast after he went to Texas?
I don't.
I remember.
What?
We listened to it way too many of these. I remember Aiden's podcast interview with like the in-house Michigan State podcast. I remember Silas doing it. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember what he said.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now. He said, playing at Oregon State, no one knew who I was.
And that's not true. That's an agent telling him that.
Yeah. But still, he goes on a podcast and regurgitated that. Yeah. And that I mean, he said, sure. No one got to watch me. No one knew who I was. Well, I mean, Silas, congratulations. I'm glad you got a contract. I'm even more glad that it's for my boy Terry's team. But bro, clearly no one still knew who you were.
That is an insane take. He played in a top 10 matchup when Oregon played Washington. Or Oregon State played Washington.
Big Freudian slip there.
Cut that
out. Yeah, he was
when Oregon State played Washington. It was a matchup of top 10.
There was not a small amount of nationally televised games during the 2 years of Silas at his absolute best, especially that clinic he put on in that win against Utah in 2000.
And every Oregon State game was a nationally televised game last year.
that is
every single one of them.
That is true. So if I meet up with Silas in Minneapolis, I'll push back on that point a little bit. Yeah, I mean,
you know when no one knows who you are is when you sit on the fucking bench.
Yeah.
Then nobody knows who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, weird draft weekend, but we don't need to focus too much on the draft because we have the future to focus on, and we have a team that I think can win 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 69 games this year. Nice. Led by Maalik Murphy, who did not look perfect in the Oregon State spring game, but clearly has the type of cannon that we have not seen on this campus very often in a long time. I think he and Darius-Clemons are going to be a pretty incredible duo. Obviously, we've got Hankerson and a great run game coming back. I think there's a lot of
for low-key, watch for Murphy to Card. That is going to be such a fun because Card can fucking burn.
Card can fly. I wanted Card to get the ball so much more last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's some questions on the offensive line, but the good news is most of the offensive line who is expected to play didn't play in the spring game because they're injured. And the bad news is that a lot of offensive linemen are currently injured and not participating in spring camp, which can always be very helpful. So I think the success of this team probably, if you want to put it on one position group, hinges on the offensive line. We haven't had to worry too much about the offensive line over the last few seasons. That is now changing with the changing circumstances around the team, but that is something that they could bounce back in. And we got a big transfer incoming in Will Larkins from Georgia State this week on the offensive line. So just anything on the spring game, anything on, Malik, who's been around for a while. There's a great write-up that Canzano had about Malik's parents were in Corvallis for the spring game and the Fan Fest and catching up with media and meeting fans and stuff too. It looked like everything was, going well. And this team is poised and enjoying each other's company. And yeah, I think it's time to start eyes towards fall, gentlemen. How are we feeling?
Yeah.
Gundy had a good comment about Malik where he said, Malik he has this personality that just has people gravitate towards him, but when he's in the huddle, he's all business and he's telling people where they need to be, and he's taking control in the huddle, which I think a lot of Oregon State fans, having seen Malik in press conferences and before men's basketball games, like duh. But when you are put in control of the offense of a team that you're still getting to know people's names, let alone the playbook, and you're able to take control in the huddle and have the coach call that out, I think that there's something to be said for that. And Malik obviously has a cannon for an arm. I think he's proven that he's good at decision making given his touchdown to interception ratio. And the fact that he can take control of this team this early and basically say, like, I'm the man, you can trust me. I'll tell you where to go. I'll tell you where to be. I'll make you better. Man, like, he also called out, and I thought that this was sort of like a shot almost, but he said that that was something that the team didn't have last year. And I think
that's fair.
I don't think any of us are surprised by that, given the play on the field. The offense looked lost at times, and I really think that this will tell us a lot about Gundy. He has his guy at the helm. He has somebody who is going to know the playbook in and out and is going to be there to make other people better. If Gundy's offense is built for success, we're going to see it this season.
Yeah, and I mean, if you think about last season, it wasn't clear what DJU's plan was. It wasn't clear what Child's plan was. And when they were both gone, it was a scramble. Yeah, an absolute scramble to figure out who we've got at quarterback.
And not the good kind of quarterback scramble.
No. No, we did think that maybe we'd have that. I mean, Giovanni McCoy, I love the guy. He's a great dude. His family's great. But, yeah, he's off to another
Texas
school
State
again. No, he entered the portal again.
From Texas State?
He did.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
All right.
Without playing a snap there. Surprisingly, Benny G has entered the portal after seemingly hanging them up.
He has still more eligibility,
I guess. Yeah. So, I mean, watch where they both land. I think that will give a lot of clarity to what kind of quarterback room we truly had. Jabari Johnson, of course, was still very young, raw, working through getting situated in college. But I am still tempering my expectations from Maalik Murphy as much as I'm extremely excited for him to play a meaningful game for the Beavs until I see what happens, because I just feel like, not that I was burned by DJU in a way, I feel like the hype was very high for him because of the pedigree that he came from. Despite him not delivering, I would say, like, to be fair, Maalik Murphy has done better up to this point in his college career than DJU did. Yeah. So I think that having higher expectations and being more excited for this is worthy. Mm-hmm. However, we also don't know what the surrounding cast is going to truly look like and how they're going to be utilized. Whereas we kind of knew that DJU would come in and plug in and how he'd fit. And it's underdelivered. Underwhelmed.
But here's the thing with DJU is that he got pushed out of Clemson not only because Klubnik was clearly the next guy, but his play was questionable at best in the last half of the season at Clemson. And Maalik Murphy, I don't think he's had a stretch of a season. Now, he didn't play a lot at Texas, but I don't think he had a stretch at Texas or at Duke where fans were questioning.
Yeah. I agree. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that coaches see. Yeah, how they're doing their reads in practice, how they're preparing. You know, how involved and motivated are they? What's their work ethic like? I mean, there's things that, like, the fans just don't see. They may show up on the field, they may not. They may be hidden, and just raw talent is a good way to mask, you know, all of the other faults. I haven't seen proof yet, but even though I've seen some proof, more proof than what we had with DJU as a transfer, and a lot more background evidence than what we had in the quarterback room last year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's still a very fluid offensive situation, and it's still like maybe Duke could have been his perfect recipe for success. And I'm not saying he can't replicate it, but I'm trying to just temper my expectations until I see it in a multiple games.
I think that's smart. And I will say, in addition to DJU, I'd say Maalik Murphy is already a better college quarterback than Shedeur Sanders. So we can go ahead and guarantee he'll be a top 5 pick next year. What really encourages me about this, though, is with Gundy, and I absolutely agree. It's put up or shut up time for Gundy's offense. If they come sputtering out of the gate, that seat is going to feel hot. The fan base will be fired up. I think
He's got 2 years.
I think so too. But they can't have game. They cannot have another game like that Air Force game. Is what I'm trying to say. What really occurs to me about this marriage is Gundy ultimately unsuccessfully recruited Maalik Murphy twice. He tried to get him out of high school and he went to Texas. Mm-hmm. He tried to get him again in the transfer portal and he went to Duke. And when he ultimately came here, he has said publicly that relationship that he built over multiple recruiting cycles with Gunderson was part of, or if not the main reason why he came here. So I think Gundy's got a plan. I think Maalik Murphy felt pretty comfortable, and that Oregon State was always kind of close to the top of the list. When he ended up at Duke, we don't know exactly how much money changed hands then. It's now reported that he got a $1.5 million deal from Damnation to come to Oregon State. But I think there's familiarity between him and this coaching staff that predates just this year. So I do think there is a little bit of that's the type of continuity you can expect in this current environment, where it's like, oh, we haven't coached him for 3 years, but we tried to get him in the out of high school once and in the portal again.
Yeah, we've been in contact for the last 6 years.
So I get that's as like close of a kinship as you can build, and we'll have to wait and see if that bears fruit or not. But Gundy's clearly been thinking about Maalik Murphy and his offense for a long time.
The other good thing about this is Malik and Jabari have similar games. We never saw it last year, but from all indications, Jabari has a cannon too.
Yeah. Jabari's a much better runner, but yes, they can both fling that thing.
And I think that's important because Malik, who's been touted as someone who is very interested in making those around him better, it's a lot easier to make someone like Jabari better when you can relate to them as having similar styles of play. And so, that helps us out. When you have a backup quarterback that plays the same way as your starting quarterback does, I think that bodes well, not just for in-game performance, but for reps too. When you're on the second team offense getting reps, and you're getting reps with a quarterback that plays a similar style of game as your starting quarterback, it does just make everyone around you better. It makes the entire offense better. The first team, the second team, and down the chart. Like, this is a really good thing on multiple different levels for Oregon State. And I just remember when DJU came under center for the first time at that San Jose State game, in our text thread, it was all like this sense of, oh, this is what it's like to have a quarterback. That
we
knows
brought
how
it
to manage
up on the pod. I remember talking about that.
Yeah.
I mean, like that sense of relief.
Yeah. I think we'll get the same thing with Murphy.
And maybe you're right, though, Benny. Maybe it is something about the system. And last year, right, you had McCoy, and it was like, he's quick. He can maybe break on the run when needed. Was the arm there? Yeah. Okay, then you've got, Jabari, who the arm is there, but is the accuracy, is the reads and the decision making there? He's maybe as good on his feet, but maybe not as aware as McCoy, who's had more time. And then you've got Benny G, who's wearing, well, at least while he's in the pocket, he's wearing cement shoes, and maybe not a huge deep ball. He can sling it if necessary, but there was so many differences between every quarterback last year.
Yeah, right.
And it's like, one, I mean, if you're assessing what your best option is as a coach, as the offensive coordinator, how do you really look at it and go, well, none of these guys fit my system? So where's my best option? I think a lot of the less than stellar quarterback performances last season can go up to making a bet on somebody working well against a defense or their defensive system or the skill level of a defensive opponent, or how much we maybe needed to score to win a game against a certain opponent's offense, and they were misreads. And then the misreads compounded and ended up being well, we have to like go with the surest bet, and the surest bet was Benny G at that point. So
right.
That's why I do feel like this is not a one and done must do or die season for Gundy. He needs to get guys who work in his system, and not just a guy. He needs to get a quarterback room of dudes who he's recruited, has relationships with,
and
that he's wanted, and not just guys who he needed.
And I think you keyed in on it, right? Like, why was Malik his guy? Why did he go after Malik twice when he was at UCLA and now a third time, right? He's his guy because Malik is a type of quarterback that fits into his system. And when you have the type of quarterback that fits into your system, then all of a sudden Darius Clemons is getting, 10, 12 balls thrown to him a game.
Oh,
you have a stable of
Don't
tight ends.
tempt me with a good time, Benny.
You have a stable of tight ends. You have Anthony Hankerson
tight ends.
in the backfield, right? You have Zachary Card who can burn DBs.
I have a tight end talking about tight ends.
I am telling you, like, it's not make or break for Gundy in terms of if the offense comes sputtering out of the gate, he's out. But it's make or break for Gundy because he does really have such a perfect storm of players who stuck around from last year that we didn't see Clemons all season until the end of the season. And then all of a sudden you see what he can do and you're like, this guy's an NFL caliber.
Footwork is amazing.
Yeah. And now you have this tight end that's stacked. You just have an offense that he should be able to make great. And if you have a great offense and you have Trent Bray now calling the plays on defense, this could be a special season for Oregon State. and you get Oregon early in the season again, which is a really good thing, I think. Because when you have a team when you is built on the transfer portal, we saw Oregon. It took them a second to get things figured out. So getting them early in the season, I think, is a really good thing.
And they still have a lot to figure out.
And they have kind of a cake schedule this year.
Oh, I'm talking about Oregon.
No, Oregon doesn't have a cake schedule. Oregon State does. Oregon State has a cake schedule this year.
This really could be, a season where they can stack up some wins.
It's a double-edged sword.
Cake is a
double-edged sword. That is true. But other than Oregon, there's not one game on our calendar that I wouldn't expect Oregon State to win.
Yeah.
Maybe at Texas Tech.
At Texas Tech early in the season.
Color me shocked, Benny, that you don't see a game we can't win.
Benny, the predictions episode is in August. You're getting way ahead of yourself. Let's do it right now. We've got another 2 hours to go through all 15 games of a new college football playoff. I do think we need to get out of here, but that is an incredible first football segment in a while. Thank you both. I'm really excited to see Malik in action. Remember that Maalik Murphy, Malik spelled with 2 A's because he's a double dose of that action. And what Gundy can do with this team. I think, it really does come down to the offensive line for me. So I hope these guys get the big horses up front, get healthy so that we can get that working together. And
look what Gundy was able to do with Dante Moore.
Yeah, he was good. Kind of.
Yeah. He was a lot better at UCLA than he was at Oregon. He makes good quarterbacks
he hasn't
great.
Played at Oregon much.
He played a little bit at Oregon.
A little bit, but that was, more so the Dillon Gabriel show. And speaking of Dillon Gabriel, I don't want to mention too many Oregon people on this Oregon State podcast. I will offer the prediction that Maalik Murphy will be drafted higher than Shedeur Sanders was drafted this past week. And maybe even higher than Dillon Gabriel was drafted this past weekend. So shout out Malik with 2 A's, double dose of dad action.
And then he'll yell, people did know who I was. Yeah. People did see me play.
Yeah.
Yes, Silas. If that wasn't clear. Man, very quick here, or the Oregon State men's basketball front on the highwood. Keziah Ikisi, the French sensation, does indeed commit to Oregon State men's basketball program. Also, good news, Isaiah C. and Josiah Lake have confirmed they are coming back.
Good.
in this era, we may need them to confirm.
Is he coming? You knew that C was coming back.
Yeah. So we got the French connection that will be in town. So that's some good news for a program that needed it. Also a couple transfer portal additions. Steven
great French fries.
Olawini from Southern Indiana and Noah.
Ooh, I like the Olawini.
Amenhauser.
Give me a tight end.
Good German name to go with.
Olawini.
Bertram and Horstmann and Wiehage. Noah Amenhauser from Coastal Carolina. Yeah. So that's about it for
off the coast of Germany.
Yeah, he took a raft down the river Rhine and sailed it across the ocean and landed at Myrtle Beach.
A new German kid.
I know. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah,
we love German kids.
Yeah.
Shout out German kid.
Unless their name's Ratag.
Radage.
Yeah, I've already beat that Radage.
I wonder. I hope we draw Baylor next year. That'd be fun. All right. Anyway, that just about does it for this, the 179th episode of the Belligerent Beavs podcast. Thank you so much, listener, for rocking with us this week and every week that we are able to record an episode. Thank you for your patience, especially through this previously unannounced hiatus. We will try to be better about that. We promise, and we'll keep our nose to the grindstone as this baseball season keeps heating up and things start getting for real. And maybe we'll see you in Omaha. Hopefully, I'll be there. No matter honeymoon in Omaha.
Omaha.
Who says no?
Omaha.
My fiance probably.
Sam has to know what she's getting into.
She does. 79 episodes of this shit. She's been around for every one of them. She does. Anyway, not every one of them. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
Have you played the first few for her? This is a narrative pod.
She went back to the beginning. Like, please take this out of the podcast. And then you didn't take it out of the podcast. She heard that part.
Was it her?
No, she wasn't. It was before I met her. But maybe in a later episode, it would be way too romantic and poetic if it was her. So take this out of the podcast and just say I said yes, it was her. Anyway, man.
Oh, Terry
my name's Terry Horstman. I know, for a good reason too. Terry Sweatsman. You can find me online at Terry Horstman, most places. I still have my Twitter to make fun of Laker fans. Fuck you, Luka Doncic. And Blue Sky and elsewhere at Terrence Horstman on Instagram, and it's Sir Terrence Horstman on Red Note, because it's commies expect a certain level of formality. And Facebook, MySpace, Friendster. Send me a request. We'll hang out. I am joined, as I always am, by my best friends from college, JP Bertram, yay Palm Springs Bertram, aka Baby.
I'm back.
It's been a long time since I remembered Baby.
I'm back.
My Bay from the Bay. Hell yay. Back from Palm Springs. You can follow him on Twitter still, I believe, at the Trio J. That's at the_Trio_J, because he's too trio to be real. And on Instagram and probably everywhere else at JP Bertram. And of course, also here, Benjamin, Lawrence, Sebastian, Weehage, all four of you combined into one, form like Voltron, a.k.a. Benny with the good quaff, a.k.a. Benny Bull Game, a.k.a. Benny Blastoff, a.k.a. Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks. And he's at Benny L. 1986. On all social media channels, but you probably won't catch him on Twitter because he deleted it from his phone. But you can still read his very poetic and well-written tweets from the last
and use them against
16 years, and use them against him or for him, or just in the middle,
or just use them,
or just neutrally,
or just read them,
or just read them. Nice little beach read. Summer's coming up. You want to check it out? Use Benny's tweets. This is your permission. Anyone listening, use Benny's tweets. Oh. You can use Benny's tweets for whatever you think you can use tweets for.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead and use them, baby. Have fun.
And maybe tell us what you plan to use them for.
Exactly. And You can still follow us on goddamn Twitter of all places at Belligerent Beavs, at Belligerent Beavs everywhere else. That's Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Blue Sky, Napster. We're still on the Napster app, downloading.
Yeah.
MP3 dot.
No, we're uploading them. We're
/ gone hyphen give comma it dash to period by D dash X parentheses not encrypted and crashing our parents' computers by doing so.
Yeah.
And so crash your computer with LimeWire with us together on the LimeWire / Napster app. Wait.
Napster was pretty secure.
Napster was actually. It was the other ones that got once Lars Ulrich.
The peer-to-peer stuff.
Thanks, Metallica.
No, there's the peer-to-peer stuff. Yeah, thanks, Metallica. That's your fault.
Ruined podcasting.
Dell got ruined because
it
of
just
Metallica.
Blew up because of Metallica.
Yeah.
Oh man. So anyway, we'll be back with another episode at some point. Maybe next week. Probably next week. We hope next week. But if not next week, then a future week. Sometime in the future. Or in the past. Yeah. Who knows? Or else, if you never hear from us again, we're on KB 324 2069, 120 light years away, forming the first podcast on an all-new planet. Because we are innovators here at the Belligerent Beavs podcast. With the Algae Crumpler. Tight end for the Atlanta Falcons, motherfucker. Deepest well of knowledge goes. Don't come at me on this NFL draft weekend. I can name dudes forever, but I'm going to stop now so we can get out of here. This has been episode 179 of the Belligerent Beavs podcast. Shout out Mitch Canham. Good luck on Tuesday. Beat the fuck out of those guys for us. Come on, so we can feel good about something.
Yeah.
And go Wolves, go Warriors. The Lakers still suck. Luka, call a ambulance and tune in again next week. But aside from all that, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter what they take away, remember that you categorically cannot spell ChopEm without hope. So ChopEm.
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 Beavs back, baby.